Day by day, drop by drop, hand line by hand line, progress against the Front Range's fires. Optimism in Jefferson County tonight, mixed news for neighbors in Larimer County. Colorado's aerial firefighting fleet has really grown in recent years. We look at where all those planes are coming from and going to. Another fire is blamed on a flaming bird carcass, which we've learned is not as rare as you might think. Neither is the fact that you can find positivity, good news even, from Coloradans close to those fires.
That's my son up there, and you're just so happy.
We end this week as we always do, with a reason to believe that tomorrow will be better than today. That is next. Firefighters on the Quarry Fire are feeling hopeful. That's not vibes, that is based on the situation that they have created through their own hard work. They've now dug hand lines connecting to bulldozer paths, creating fire breaks for the homes on the east and the west sides of that fire in Jefferson County.
Yesterday we were cautiously optimistic, and today we're even more optimistic that we're making really good progress with this fire.
The Quarry Fire did grow 50 acres to the west today. It's now up to 480 acres. There's 10% containment, and it has not yet reached a home. Winds cranked up for a while on that fire southwest of C-470 and Kipling today. The big plume of smoke was startling to neighbors, but the sheriff's office says that wasn't a fresh run in a new direction. That was the fire burning back on itself within its perimeter. Investigators are quite sure this fire was caused by people, so much so they're bringing in the state's arson dog. And they're asking anyone with information to call the sheriff's office. Up north on the Alexander Mountain Fire in Larimer County, the number of buildings burned is climbing. They've confirmed about 30 now. The sheriff's office hopes to notify all the people impacted tonight. Our Kelly Rinke joins us from Larimer County after talking with some neighbors who got some good news today. Kelly?
Yeah, Kyle, more than 9,000 acres burned since Monday, 5% containment, but firefighters say they are making progress here. Some families today learned they could return to their homes after firefighters lifted mandatory evacuation orders. Each pink ribbon meant the house was empty. Family had safely evacuated. Days later, there are signs of hope as some in Larimer County can return home.
Oh boy, it was like, yay! You know, pack up the car, we're going home.
Pam Hartley can finally smile now that her neighborhood is under voluntary rather than mandatory evacuation orders.
Since I can't talk to each one, hopefully when they drive by, they know that we do really appreciate what they do.
Within an hour of getting to her family's house, she thought of others, a sign of gratitude she purchased the day the wildfire started.
Oh yeah, because I knew as soon as we could get up here, we were going to put this up here.
Pam knows she's lucky. Many wait at the Red Cross for answers about their home. Lori Wade worries about her business.
Just trying to keep in touch with everybody.
She must tell customers their vacation at her lodge has been canceled.
Of course, issuing refunds for people that were supposed to check in this coming weekend, or today.
Her business, Stony River Lodge, was evacuated Monday.
So this is what I first saw.
She doesn't know when they'll be able to reopen.
It's hard for us financially. It's hard for the people because we want them to come stay with us.
Her days are filled with uncertainty as some neighbors Friday find relief.
So thankful. You feel sorry for the people that have nothing to come home to.
The sheriff's office says all of the lost and damaged structures are in the same area. It's a neighborhood south of Cedar Springs Reservoir. Kyle, firefighters are saying that incoming weather is going to be challenging because those thunderstorms bring additional winds.
Yes, indeed. Wish them the best. Kelly Rinke in Larimer County, thank you. Colorado's really stepped up its game in terms of aerial firefighting in the last couple of years. More aircraft in more places. Our Marshall Zellinger has that.
Loop in the air. Scoop in the water. And pull. Loop, scoop, and pull.
This plane carries 1,412 gallons of water.
You can't miss the red and yellow design of one of the super scoopers that today is collecting and dropping water on the Alexander Mountain Fire in Larimer County, and yesterday was helping at the Quarry Fire in Jefferson County.
We were turning from the water to the drop in about 6 minutes.
Pilot and trainer Ryan Cleveland just left a fire outside Phoenix to drop water in Colorado from a plane based in Montana.
Because of the heightened danger here in the Front Range, we were sent here because we have an immediate response and very efficient in this type of topography.
The super scoopers are here on a contract, basically rented as needed.
We have more resources than Colorado's ever had before.
After years of delays, the state can now tout the resources it has to fight fires from the air. The state owns the $26 million Firehawk helicopter that can drop 1,000 gallons of water, with another on order. The state also owns 2 multi-mission aircrafts that can detect fires and provide intelligence and mapping. The rest of what the state has, well, it's rented. The state contracts for 2 Type 2 helicopters that require them to be available for 7.5 months. Those can drop water, retardant, and supplies. Next year, those contracts will be replaced with 2 state-owned helicopters. For 4 months of the year, Colorado has a contract for a large air tanker that can drop 3,000 gallons of retardant. And for 8 months, the state has a contract for 2 single-engine air tankers that can drop 800 gallons of retardant or foam. 5 years ago, the state was guaranteed those planes for only 5 months of the year. And those 2 helicopters that can drop water, retardant, and supplies, in 2019, the state was only guaranteed those for 4 months.
We're in a much better place with the resources we have. If this was a few years ago, we likely wouldn't have any aircraft able to respond within 24 hours.
The old debate, rent versus own. I asked about the cost of essentially renting these super scoopers. The contracts, though, are handled by the U.S. Forest Service. I'm still waiting to find out how that works out. How much does it cost? How much does the U.S. government pay versus state versus county? I'm still working on those answers.
It's just fascinating to watch them work. I was telling you that they pair up those super scoopers so that they fly together, not spaced out, and then drop at the same point, go fill up together, drop at the same point. And for the state to have just so many more levers that they can pull in an emergency, you see the result, right? We saw the result in past years.
And the super scoopers in Jefferson County were 6 minutes away from scooping up water and putting it on the Quarry Fire. They could do that for 3.5 hours, 4 hours worth of fuel, 8 hours for a pilot. Then it's done until the next day.
It's relentless. It's so cool to see. Marshall, thank you. Tina Peters' defense team says that her sneaking her fellow election deniers into the Mesa County voting system might have broken some county rules, but it wasn't illegal. The former Mesa County clerk's felony trial continued today in Grand Junction. The former Republican clerk admits that she snuck people into her office's voting system to search for proof of election fraud. Today, the court heard testimony from Mesa County Election Director Brandy Bance, who said that sneaking unauthorized people into a secure location full of election equipment required bypassing a complex system of passwords and shutting off video surveillance. Peters' attorneys argued that might be a breach of Mesa County policies, but it was not against the law at the time. Law's been changed since. The court also heard from Gerald Wood, a software engineer who claims his identity was the one stolen to create a badge used to sneak an election conspiracy theorist into the voting equipment room. Wood was one of several IT experts who went to a cyber symposium hosted by election denier and the MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell. Participants there in 2021 were supposed to sift through all this raw data to uncover the proof that a foreign country had hacked the 2020 election. Wood said today in court that, quote unquote, the evidence was basically worthless.
It took us, these people with various IT and computer backgrounds, about 6-7 minutes to look at it and say this isn't anything, because it was missing key information that would validate it and prove that it was right, it was valid or not valid. So without that information, it couldn't be proved true or false. It wasn't worth our time.
Peters' trial will continue next week. She faces 7 felony charges and 3 misdemeanors. First, do no harm. That idea, or something like it, is built into so many professions, in medicine, in what we do in journalism. And that idea, first do no harm, is one of the big ideas behind the Porchlight Family Justice Center in Jefferson County. They're the recipient of this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign. Porchlight serves survivors of domestic violence, sex assault, child abuse, and human trafficking. And they realized that new harm was being done to those survivors when they had to retell the story of the worst moment in their lives over and over again to various service providers and nonprofits and law enforcement and government agencies. All of those people wanted to help, and they have resources to give, but it wasn't a victim-focused process. So Porchlight brought dozens of agencies together under one roof, one stop, where survivors can share their story once and get all kinds of help. There's even childcare on site. That's one less worry, one less reason not to go and seek the resources that are out there. To join me in supporting Porch Light, scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. More than 3,000 of you have signed up to simplify your giving with a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. You give once, we split it up among the nonprofits that month. It's meant that we started our recent micro-giving campaigns with $22,000 in donations each week. 2 grass fires are being blamed on foul play, as in flaming birds falling from the sky. And for residents near the Quarry Fire in Jefferson County, it has been a long week, yet they still found time to answer our favorite Friday question with some really thoughtful stuff. What's your good news? Birds. We need to talk about the fires that you're starting in Colorado. For the second time in 2 weeks, fire investigators say a grass fire was sparked when a flaming bird carcass fell into dry brush. These birds apparently fly into power lines. West Metro Fire says an extra crispy burning bird started a small grass fire near the Fort restaurant in Morrison on Wednesday. It didn't take long to find the cause. They put out the fire quickly and the burnt bird was just laying right there. Clearly, the bird, they said, had been electrocuted by the power lines, caught on fire, fell into the grass. Now, if that sounds familiar, the same exact thing started a really large fire in Byers last month. And according to a Wildlife Society bulletin study from 2022, this is a national epidemic. A surprisingly high number of wildfires are caused by electrocuted birds, it says, 44 in the 4 years they studied. Now, most birds that meet their end in that shocking fashion don't start fires. U.S. Fish and Wildlife estimate that anywhere from 1 million to 10 million birds die in power line electrocutions each year. The good news for those birds, if there is any, one of the authors of the bird wildfire study is a biologist who says the birds likely don't know what hit them. That, quote, when electrocutions happen, it's not unusual for the water in the animal cells to instantly be turned to steam. Good Lord. That explodes the cells. Fly carefully, birds, fly carefully. Meteorologist Lauren Robinson is in now. We learn something new here every day. Some nights it's fun, some nights it's interesting, some nights it's horrifying.
Yeah, that's news that I've actually been kind of aware of for a while.
That birds explode when they hit power lines? They vaporize?
Yes, I live with a firefighter. I've actually known this for quite a
Okay. I think the non-firefighter aware people didn't realize that 10 million birds were vaporizing on power lines.
Yeah, I don't think you learned that in school.
No, you don't.
Absolutely not. No. Well, we do have air quality alerts in place through tomorrow afternoon. Now, this is mostly going to be because of ozone. So we have an ozone action day through Saturday afternoon. The good news is a lot of that wildfire smoke, specifically from other states, that's kind of calmed down. So now the only wildfire smoke we're really monitoring is from our local wildfires, which really is kind of contained, especially across the Front Range. But we take a look at our live radar here, where we did get some very spotty showers here and there across the Front Range, but as expected, most of them are combining as they move their way into the plains. Biggest impacts being heavy downpours, some small to moderate sized hail, gusty winds, lots of lightning and thunder. Behind this, we could see a trailing couple of brief showers and storms here and there, even with some rain possibly falling between the fires in Lyons and outside of Loveland. Outside of that, all of these storms move their way out late tonight. Tomorrow we get some sunny skies, but with those storms tonight, central and northern portions of the Front Range into the eastern plains here, we're going to see heavy downpours with those storms, some small hail through the rest of the evening, gusty winds, and even some lightning and thunder. Pretty mild overnight tonight, and then tomorrow we're going to see those highs back in the upper 90s.
My good news is that I finished up my summer classes today.
You know, if ever a week called for some encouragement to wrap things up, it is this one. So we will end the week the way we always do, with your good news next. This week's difficult news, the fires up and down the Front Range, could have made it harder for our neighbors to find the good news in their lives. But nope, even Coloradans living right near the Quarry Fire in Jefferson County still came through.
We were pretty much thinking that we were getting close to being out of the woods because it looked like it was moving in another direction until about 10 minutes ago, when in our backyard we saw it look like it ignited. I do have good news. I am blessed to say that I have 2 children that just recently announced that they are expecting, and we are going to have 2 grandchildren by the end of this year.
Well, my good news is that every Thursday I volunteer at Renewed Treasures. It's an interfaith resale store.
My good news is I'm a volunteer for Jefferson County Public Schools for a senior course called Senior Field Studies that the kids take. We do a river trip and a backpack trip. And one thing I do see within that is that how the kids grow up and communicating, because there's no cell service and they have to work together.
My good news is tomorrow I get a race, Littleton Twilight Criterium, tomorrow at 2 o'clock. It's the biggest race in Colorado. I'm excited to show off.
My good news is that I finished up my summer classes today.
Tell me about your A.
And I got an A in one of them, and the other grade is to be determined.
I'm in the Honor Guard at Fort Logan, and we do services out there for the veterans interred, and it is such a feel-good for me because I know how much the families appreciate it.
So in the midst of all this, we get to focus on that joy.
I certainly hope that you have enjoyed the Paris Olympics so far. You know who hasn't had the best time? Albania, our favorite underdogs. The Albanian anthem, Hymni al Flamurat, Hymn to the Flag, has never, ever been heard during a medal ceremony at the Olympics. 3 of the 8 Albanian athletes in Paris this year are already out of the running. 48-year-old shooter Menjolo Kanini came in 37th in her qualifying round for the 25-meter pistols today. 2 Albanian swimmers were knocked out in qualifying. Keltra Mecha and Grisi Konshaku failed to make a splash. But don't give up. You think Albania's given up? Do you think I gave up when I found out that you can't just buy one Albanian flag on Amazon? Absolutely not. I bought the 12-pack because we're going to do it this year in Paris. Albania's going to win its first Olympic medal. Their best chance is when the wrestlers hit the mat later in these games. We're back in non-Albania related feedback next. If you missed last night's show, we had feedback for the ages from a dude named Brad. Brad says, in your stories about the fires, it is so obvious that you are standing in front of a green screen and dressed as if you're out there. What a farce. All right, Brad, just for you. All right, got to unplug the microphone. Have a good night. Brad wrote back. Touché, Kyle. Your quick response made me smile as well. Brad says, I've learned to be more careful regarding those I listen to. I was truly impressed how quickly and humorously you responded. God bless you and yours, Brad. I respect that a ton. That guy Brad can, 1, take a joke, and 2, change his mind based on new evidence. Do you know how much better the world would be if everybody out there could take a joke and change their mind when they get new information? That'd be a whole new world. Be like Brad. See you next time.